Malaysia. This is Airtime with Ronnie Klassen. One of the biggest revenue earner in Malaysia today happens to be tourism. Sabah basically is no different from the other states in Malaysia, blessed with the majestic Mount Kinabalu, beaches, heritage sites, and so forth. It is basically a dream come true in visiting Sabah as your point tourism destination. With me today is Sabah's Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment, Yang Berhormat Datuk Masidi Manjun. Welcome to the show, Datuk Masidi.
Thank you very much.
Let's begin, Datuk, by a statement that you have made. In addition to that, of course, it was cited in your Twitter account yesterday. You mentioned the Tun Mustafa Marine Park in northern Sabah. It has been gazetted with 2.2 acres, making it
2.2 million acres.
2.2 million acres, yes. Right? Making it the biggest in Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there is enormous marine life in that proximity. Yes. I'm sure you'll agree.
Oh, yes,
right?
yes.
Now, the rampant turtle poaching and sharks being harvested for its fin, all right, has brought about enormous profits from poachers. Okay. Now, as the Minister of Tourism and Culture and Environment, we'd like to know, to what extent are you prepared to go in protecting our marine life, all right? And is this gazette under the Sabah Heritage Conservation Enactment 1997, or is it under the National Heritage Conservation Act 2005?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. First and foremost, when we talk about conservations, actually we are talking about investing in the future of the country, in the future of our people. You see, many a while, I think somewhere, somehow, human being have made a mistake. There's an over-harvesting of natural products, including fish products, leaving nothing for the future. I would like to believe that we have learned some lesson from past mistakes. And that's one of the reasons why we have declared this Tun Mustafa Marine Park, which, as you rightly pointed out, is 2.2 million acres, which will be the biggest in Malaysia, and I suppose one of the biggest in this part of the world. The reason is simple. I think we need to look beyond our own lifetime to ensure that there is a sustainable harvesting and development of the not only the tourism industry, but perhaps the sea products. And as you rightly pointed out, one of the most serious problems that is we are currently facing in the northern part of Sabah is killing turtles, sharks, and so forth. Unfortunately, there is no clear law to manage these issues. Now, we believe by gazetting this place into a marine park, then we would have put basic law in place that would enable us to come up with more stringent measures later on, thereafter, in order to control poaching, killing of protected species, and so forth. You see, this Tun Mustafa Marine Park is a state initiative, so obviously it is enacted under the state law.
I see. Under the Sabah Heritage Conservation.
Right. And the reason is simple. I don't think it's our business to deal with under the national law. So we try to make do with what is available to us, and what is available to us is a state law. Now, having said that, I know a lot of people are talking about sharks, but unfortunately, at the moment, there is no law against shark hunting or shark finning. Now, I have said many times, and I want to say it again, we hope with the creation of this marine park, we can then proceed under existing state law, whether there is a possibility for us to perhaps even enact an amendment to the law to protect sharks and so forth. I.e., but first, we need to be in total control of the place, which is the Tun Mustafa Marine Park. Having said that, when it is our control, then we have a better way of, or rather a better way of managing it, including enacting or amending existing law to protect all the animals that we have said.
Is this wanting to enact this law, is it forthcoming?
Actually, you know, when you create a marine park, there are certain restrictions that I think need to be enforced. And in fact, I just wanted to let you know that we have commenced what they call this operational management of the park today. Yeah?
I see. Okay.
And there will be some restrictions, and we like to believe that perhaps in not too distant future, we'll sit down with policymakers, with my staff, with my officers, to perhaps come up with certain guidelines on the restrictions. There may not be a necessity to enact a law in itself, because that could be gazetted under the enactment itself.
Under the enactment.
That perhaps certain marine product or marine species cannot be harvested from that area, and that include perhaps sharks.
How effective is the enforcement, Datuk?
Well, that is a very, 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 I would say, difficult question to answer. Unfortunately, we are dealing with human beings, both the enforcers and the people who need to be subjected to the law. But we like to believe that we have gone through a substantial amount of time to educate the fishermen, educate the people in the northern part of Sabah. What is it about having to live within a marine park? So that's one. Two, you see, I like to believe that the most effective law actually is discipline is a self-discipline. You know, law that is made by men, however serious it is, you know, can always be subject to abuse, and sometimes people don't bother about it. But I think law, which actually consists of a self-discipline that comes from education, perhaps that would be a better way of getting things done. Because in a way, eventually, if the people realize that they have more to lose if they break the law, and more to gain if they protect the environment, including all the species that are supposed to be protected, and I think we are in the right direction to achieve it.
Is your ministry providing any form of educational kind of knowledge?
Oh yes, in fact, we have even started it long before the place was gazetted actually. I mean, we had a few rounds of discussion with all stakeholders, including the population at large. We have the WWF helping us and various other NGOs, and so far I think I'm glad to say that we are quite happy with the result.
Okay, now the earthquake in Ranau. Okay, I'm sure we're quite certain that it had saddened a lot of Malaysians.
Definitely.
You know, we pray that we may never have to experience such a tragedy again. All right. Now, in April this year, Datuk, while you hosted a dinner to Singapore's Foreign Affairs Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, all right. Now on the sidelines, okay, you told Channel News Asia that it is now compulsory, right, for mountain guides to pass a test, right, in rescue and crisis response, right, before their license would be eventually renewed. Okay, and training will be conducted by expert mountain rescuers from Canada and Japan. Okay, now my question is this, Dato, what is the kind of training that you were referring to that be conducted, all right, that our special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team, or SMART in short, is incapable of doing?
Well, basically it's a basic training which can easily be provided by anyone. I think the problem is with SMART is not the issue of capability. I think the issue is, are they ready to mount such an operation? You see, when the problem is on the mountain, it takes some time for you to be acclimatized to the the weather
conditions
before you
there.
can. Otherwise, you are going to subject yourself to a very serious AMS or air mountain sickness. In other words, the smart team was good, but they need to be around the mountain for some time before they can climb up the mountain to rescue it. Yeah? And that is the issue actually. So the best person to be trained actually is the people who are climbing the mountain practically every day. These are the people who have somehow acclimatized their life to the mountain, accustomed to air mountain sickness, and that is for that reasons that we believe they are the best people to be trained.
Are they stationed in Sabah now?
Oh yeah, I mean they are the guys actually.
I see.
It's their job. And the good news is that by giving them another expertise, I mean, in at least basic first aid, I hope that they can earn some extra money when the need arises, because they are not only a mountain guide for the purpose of bringing climbers to the top, but at the same time, if the worst thing happens, then they are around to help them.
What is the quantum of mountain guides in terms of numbers that we currently have?
Number one, we don't really have a so-called fixed number, because don't forget, mountain guides are by nature freelancers. Freelance mountain guides. In other words, they are not employed by the parks. They come and go. In fact, some of the mountain guides are actually farmers, that sort of thing. But having said that, I think we do have ample number that are required for normal operational requirement of climbing up to the top.
So most of them basically are doing it on a freelance ad hoc
yes,
basis.
part-time basis.
I see. And how, in terms of remuneration, how are they paid by the climbers or?
Yes. Recently, I mean, I think that's a good question. Recently, we have reviewed the guide fees. All this while we may not realize it, but the amount of money that climbers pay to the mountain guides, if I may use the word, quite low. Yeah? If you take an average, fees for the rest of the world, we are low. So recently they have asked for an increase, which we have readily agreed, and I want to say that perhaps it may not be the highest in this part of the world, but I think they are reasonable. And on the top of that, we Sabah Park have agreed to give them the insurance coverage free of charge.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last year's budget, okay, your ministry was allocated about 120 million, which I'm sure is insufficient.
Yep.
In the state budget. Now, in the Chief Minister's budget speech, in relation to the tourism ministry, your ministry, he mentioned that during the first 7 months in 2015, tourist arrivals recorded was about 1.9 million. In actual fact, it was a reduction of about 2.6% as compared to 2014. Now, we're almost reaching half of 2016. What's the tourist visitors data so far? And what has the federal government done to support Sabah's tourism?
Well, number one, the result last year was a bit disappointing, but it was, I would say, with all the tragedies that we have gone through the entire year, it was really not that bad. I mean, we expected the worst, but it
wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't really that bad.
Okay.
This year has been showing some remarkable increase. I think, for instance, the Chinese, just for January alone for this year, there was an increase of 86% in arrival. And for the first 3 months of this year, the average increase was 60%, which is, I think, is actually huge.
Where are these tourists coming from mainly?
Basically, the major portion of our tourists come from Northern Asia, which means China, Korea, Taiwan, and of course, Hong Kong is part of China. Now, but the other good news is that the first 3 months, despite the what they call this trouble advisory from some European countries, there was actually a growth of 24% from Europe. The last 3 months of this year.
Even with the travel advisory?
Even with the travel advisory. So the point I'm trying to say is that under normal circumstances, we should be doing well. You know, but when you have all the rather unpleasant incidents that we have gone through, that could be a damper in the industry itself. But we try to, you know, I always believe that when you are with this sort of situation, you try to go to plan B and that sort of thing. And perhaps that's exactly the reasons why last year may not be good. There was no growth, but it was not really that bad at all.
What is the extended support that your ministry is getting from Datuk Seri Nazri Aziz ministry over there?
The good news is that Nazri is, policy vis-a-vis Sabah is a different ball of game altogether. He seems to love Sabah. In fact, Sabah was the first state that he visited after he was appointed as a minister.
Tourism.
I have a very good working relationship with him, and since the beginning of this year, he's been here twice. That sort of thing, and he's been giving a lot of support, of course, and the support may not go directly to Sabah Tourism or to my ministry, but it does go to his office. His branch office, who is operating here as well.
The department.
The department. But I must say, things have, very, very much better than before.
Okay, now Sabah, unfortunately, all right, we are plagued by constant kidnappings for ransom. Okay, which involves foreigners and Malaysians, all right, as victims by armed gunmen. Now, ISCOM has maintained, and it's been echoed by the State Security Committee, that security in Sabah is under control. All right. Now, this may be a very tall order, but how are you, as the Minister of Tourism, handling the situation, all right, in further enhancing a positive image in as far as tourism is concerned? Right? When foreign journalists ask you when you travel, how safe is Sabah?
That question, obviously, is a very, very important question. Now, with all these incidents and what have you, I have, to be honest with you, I have considered it as a part of an occupational hazard. As a minister, you know, there is no, obviously, a country where you say it's the safest in the world. You know, look at London. People say it's the safest, but once in a while, during unlucky, they have bombing. You know, Paris is experiencing it, and Belgium is, of course, is getting the worst of the problems of terrorism. Now, I like to console myself by thinking that, you know, Brazil, out of the 17 most dangerous cities in the world, 6 of them are in Brazil. Yet, people continue to flock to Brazil. So what I'm saying is that I accept the fact that there are challenges, but I also accept the fact that there is no such thing as the safest city in the world or the safest place in the world. Now, our strategy basically is actually to tell the truth. Now, Sabah Tourism will issue, say, if something happens, say a kidnapping happened, we actually issue a bulletin every day, which is to all our friends and partners over the world, to tell them exactly what is happening, what is happening, and what are we doing about it. I have, thankfully, I think being honest has paid dividends. And I think probably if there's any reasons why they are still coming here is because we have been honest with them. We accept the fact that when something happens, we don't try to hide it. When something serious happens, we tell them it is serious. But at the same time, we also tell them, well, you can still come to Sabah, but why don't you just go down? They also have a lot of
divert them from to other areas.
Yes, from the West Coast. You know, West Coast is, they are full of tourism products in the West Coast. And when they do come, they realize that the sea is not all about Sandakan about Sampurna. It's also about, say, Kudat, for instance. In fact, Ronnie, I want to remind you that actually one of the most beautiful sunsets is in Kudat. People may not realize it, and the beach,
The tip of Borneo.
yes,
Yeah.
the sand is white. So I can perhaps, if I put it in a nutshell, I think the whole, the thing to do is, I think you should not just, you should be ready with options when the need arises. If this doesn't work, I think you go to option B. If option B is not effective, we go to option C.
You have a variety of products.
Yes,
to
yes,
sell.
yes, yes. Because we are well blessed. It's just question is just about how do we sell them.
Now, you, funnily, that you mentioned about Datuk Sri Nasri Aziz, that he has been extremely supportive. Okay, but some 18 months ago, Nasri Aziz firmly claimed that Sabah is not safe in a debate in Parliament. He said, I quote, "I cannot say Sabah is safe just because we have ISKCOM there." And he said he had to tell the truth. Right? And his concern was journalists may ask him if Sabah was safe, and if they were to ask him how and why are your people still held for ransom. Now, we also discovered that just a couple of days after this statement that was made by Datuk Nasri Aziz, your rebuttal was very timely. Right? You rebutted by saying that the Federal Tourism Ministry should come in to support rather than belittle the tourism industry in Sabah. All right, now your thoughts about it, Dato', and how has the situation improved since then, and your assurance to tourists in encouraging them to come to Sabah?
Yeah, one, I don't take criticism personally. That's for one. My job is to make the industry flourish so that our people can earn from it. And at the outset, I must say that the tourism industry is the only industry that is controlled by Sabahans. And it is the only industry which employ practically over 95% of them are Sabahans. So it's a very, very important industry. Now, looking back at what Datuk Nasri have said, this is what I would say. In April this year, he visited Sandakan. And in Sandakan, he announced
It is safe to visit.
it is very safe. That's why I'm here, he said. So I suppose that answers when
His earlier statement,
his
18 months
his
ago.
earlier statement. Yeah.
True. Okay. Now, this is a very odd, but I guess in politics, all right, whether you may be in the ruling government or whether you may be in the opposition, every politician probably is very keen to take some form of limelight. All right, now, which boils down to this next question of mine to you. Now, it was reported in a local daily here on the 4th of December 2015, just last year. All right, state opposition leader from PKR, Datuk Lajim Ukit. He had an official meeting with the British High Commissioner to Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, Vicky Trendell. Right. Present as well in that meeting was the Commissioner's Political and Economic Councillor, Matthew Deeth. Right. Now, Lajim claimed that the British government showed keen interest to him in investing in the tourism sector in Sabah, but were only concerned over security matters in the state. Now, we're quite aware that the British government had issued a travel advisory as well. All right. Now, has the British government conveyed its interest to you, Dato', in investing in the tourism sector in Sabah?
Yeah. Number one, I think it's normal for countries that include Britain, America, to have meeting with opposition leaders. Yeah. And if you look at it, when Obama came to Malaysia, one of his itinerary was to meet up with the opposition leader.
Yes.
So it's one is normal. To me, it's no problem. Fine. Number two, I have had a very good relationship with all with the British High Commissioners, the present and the previous one, and of course with the Ambassador of America and the previous ambassadors. We have had a very good relationship. I think they somehow have fallen in love with Sabah. Yes. And definitely they are keen to come over here. You'll be surprised. To take for instance America, they have given us support in terms of providing free training for our staff, especially in conservations. Yes, in conservations. America have trained some of our wildlife rangers. Now, for the British, we accept the fact that it is their prerogative to issue what we call the travel advisory. What I'm saying is that both countries, Britain and America, just to name two of them, I think it's been very helpful to us in terms of advice. And then they are very accessible. We have, I mean, whenever we feel that it's something that we should talk, they're always open about it. And, you know, while we understand the official stand of their government on certain issue, but at the same time on personal matters, they have been very open and they have been very accommodative to us.
So would it be safe to say that at this point of time the British government has not expressed interest as yet in wanting to invest in the tourism sector in Sabah?
Well, basically, tourism is a private sector related industry.
Yes,
you know,
course,
I mean, I suppose, and then again, we also need to look at it whether the tourism industry is the industry that suits the British investors. If you look at the tourism projects or the tourism what we call product around us, you can see that most of them are actually owned by Asians or basically locals. And the reason is simple, because they know the place better. You know, but Sabah tourism do work very well with tour agents in Britain for the purpose of sending their tourists over to Sabah.
Okay, now 2 days ago, it is customary on my part, right, to open up my page in Facebook on questions from the internet. People who are basically avid people in Facebook, right? I've asked them basically that to suggest any questions, right? Knowing very well that I will be speaking to you today. Okay, there were quite a number of questions, right? But unfortunately, I can't be asking every question that was posed. Right? So I've picked up one which I felt was very, very relevant. All right. The Kota Kinabalu International Airport is the gateway in and out of Sabah. Right? And I also believe that the Kota Kinabalu International Airport is the first and the last impression, right, that would be featured by any tourist, whether it is local or foreign. Now, the question that I was asked to ask, right, the service, number one, is questionable. It is not up to mark. Right? The security checks when you are about to enter the departure hall, right? Queue can be, of course, the question was a little bit highly imaginary, can be 10 miles long, right? And the immigration counters, right? Knowing very well that AirAsia now operates in KKIA as well, all right, the numbers of passengers has again increased as compared to before when it was in KKI 2, Terminal 2, all right. So what are the remedial actions and steps is your ministry planning about to do, or it is about to be put in place?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very fair question, if I may say. One, of course, we need to understand that airports are operated by Malaysian Airport Berhad, a company owned by the Federal Ministry of Transport. So it is not within our purview, within our jurisdictions. But the good news is that they attend my post-cabinet meetings. And in fact, the complaints, if I may use the word complaints, which I think are very valid, have been exhaustively discussed during meetings, and I have made it a point to tell MAB that I think they need to operate as a business concern. The clients are the users of the airports,
Right.
and they need to be well taken care. They accepted it, and I believe measures has been taken both by MAB as well as the immigration to ease the long queue. But they did tell me that one of the problems is that it's not something that happens every day. It happens during peak period. But of course, that is not
An excuse.
An excuse.
Right.
I think we need to now showcase our capacity as an international operator of an international airport. KKIA is
International.
an international airport. We should behave as such. Give me some time to sort out with these people. And the good news is that they are very, very open to suggestions. In fact, to be honest with you, we have even assisted them in certain way, although we are not obligated to assist them. For instance, we use our own money to train them so that they can speak Chinese. So the immigration's officers, because now there were more Chinese visitors. So, and many did follow the course, and now they are doing quite well. No, that sort of thing. But as people say, it may take time. It may take some time for them to get things organized. But I do agree with you that it is important for MAB to pull up their socks and don't operate like a government department. I mean, you are operating a company, and your service should commensurate with your position as a company.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure with all the hard work and strategic moves and promotions and publicity that your ministry has been promoting, all right, in as far as getting tourists to come over to Sabah, you would obviously feel hiccups, when passengers basically go through such, well, I wouldn't really say it's a major problem, but the inconvenience that could be caused at such time.
Oh, yes. And in fact, I fully accept the fact that I myself complain when I'm put in that situation. Ronnie, most of the time I never use in fact, I've never used the VIP lane. I follow the same like every other passenger. Yes, I push my own cart of baggages so that I know really what is happening. Upon arrival in KKIA, the first thing I do is to go to the washroom to see how clean it is. And I immediately will tweet my disapproval or whatever it is to, they have a tweet, by the way, the tweet account, by the way. And the good news is that they will reply, and they said they will take immediate actions, and within 1 or 2 hours, they will tweet back and say that we have rectified.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But the point is, I think, I like complaints, to be honest with you. It's because of complaints that we get better.
That's
and
right.
I think officers should not feel that any complaint is personal. It's something to me, I consider it as a challenge to improve myself. And that's exactly how we should manage complaint.
True. Okay. Thank you very much, Datuk Masidi. It was a pleasure spending this last couple of minutes with you. I'm sure that viewers in the internet, the online, would definitely be able to have a much more better insight in what you have been sharing with us over the last couple of minutes. And last words from you, Dr. Masidi, to tourists who have not come to Sabah. What would be your encouragement to them?
Well, number one, I think Sabah is a blessed state. There are not many states in Malaysia or even in the world that have blessed with so much. The sea, the mountain, the forest and everything. We only need to take care of them. To me, I always tell this to friends from overseas. I told them, Sabah is the only place where time can wait for you and still get things done. We are not in a hurry,
That's
but
right.
we do work hard.
That's
And
right.
of course, finally, I think I have to commend the Chief Minister, the government for the very good conservation policy. I think what we have done is something for others to emulate. And this has given us a lot of good, what I call this, good vibes and to the rest of the world. And if ever anybody want to come here and go back to nature with all the modern, what I call this, facilities there is at the tip of your fingers, I think Sabah is the place.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Dr. Masidi. With that, that was Datuk Masidi Manjun, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment of Sabah. We thank him for his insights in providing shared information, which probably has been something very alien or unknown. All right, and with the insights and the sharing that has been made to us by Datuk Masidi, we wish him all the best in promoting Sabah as a tourism destination. This is Ronnie Klassen signing off in Airtime with Ronnie Klassen. Thank you.